Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit here, back again with Kuroko no Basket. We are on episode 4 of season 1, and in the last episode we started a practice match against Kaijo, Kisei's team. And yeah, Kisei is like next level in comparison to sort of like, you know, Kagami. Kagami's not quite there yet on a sort of one-on-one basis. But at the end of the last episode, Kagami figured out that Kisei does in fact have a weakness. Now, because Kisei's ability revolves around, like, you know, essentially imitation and copying others and, you know, doing it better as he claims, you know, that he can't, there's one thing that he can't copy, and that is an invisible style, as Kagami calls it, which is Kuroko. You know, and I think the idea that he was getting at was that there is nobody on Kaijo's team that can fulfill that role that Kuroko does for Seirin. You know, because with Kuroko's sort of more supportive based playstyle, I think that's what Kagami was getting at. Like, yeah, I may not be able to beat you one-on-one, but with Kuroko sort of by my side, like, you know, he can put me into positions that you can't copy, because, you know, like, you would just be copying me, but who's going to service you the ball like Kuroko does? Nobody. So I think that's what he was getting at, and I think that's why he figures that that is the weakness. And, you know, I don't think it's going to be a case of Seirin beating Kaijo. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Kaijo will still win, but there could be a moment in this episode where they, you know, take Kisei a bit by surprise. So we'll see. But I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So yeah, the reaction will be in the link below. You know, it'll take you to my website, Dailymotion, and like, it'll be the Dailymotion player. It may take you to a link to the BitChute website or whatever. It may just be different depending on, you know, on whatever. But, you know, the actual reaction highlight will be in the description below. Okay, so you can go watch the actual reaction there. There'll also be a link to the full length. If you do want to watch it in full, then you can do. It'll take you to Patreon, where you can become a full length tier patron. So yeah, the option is there for you. But there's nothing else to talk about. So we're going to get in episode 4 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 4, and Seirin actually did beat Kaijo. I was not expecting them to actually beat, you know, like, a team that is supposed, like, you know, they said that they're nationally strong, and also house a Generation of Miracles, you know, player. That, you know, during the time where Kuroko was actually not playing in the match, I figured Kisei would have stepped up then, and, like, now he had nobody that could match him, right? Because, I mean, the whole thing of, like, you know, last episode that he was saying was that, you know, one-on-one, the whole thing is like Kagami can't keep up with Kisei right now. So I figured that would have been the time where Kisei actually went up and, like, started, like, really getting a hold of the game. But I guess that was also during the time when, you know, like, the senpais for Seirin kind of, like, stood up and basically showed them how good they actually can be. And also, I think it may have had something to do with Kisei kind of losing it a bit, like, because the fact that obviously he was the one that ended up hitting him, that it may have just, you know, messed with him a bit mentally, so he really, like, couldn't get back in the game until Kuroko actually came back. And also that we didn't actually see the 40 minutes, like, sort of time limit that they've put on Kuroko. Because Kisei was saying, like, I know that's your weakness, like, as soon as it gets to that point, like, you're not going to be able to go anymore, like, that's your limit kind of thing. But I think because he ended up getting taken out of the match, it kind of, they managed to evade that, and also so in a way it could have really, the fact that, like, Kuroko actually ended up getting hurt and had to be, you know, left out of the game for a bit, could have actually been the reason why they ended up winning that game, because it allowed Kuroko to actually get, like, you know, some rest before going back on and pushing on and getting that last, you know, that buzzer beater, as they call it. Yeah, I remember they called it a buzzer beater. Like, that immediately came to mind when they said it. Like, I knew there was a term for it, but yeah, I remember it was buzzer beater. So. Yeah, but it's perfect. Like, it's a perfect sort of thing against them that, like, I didn't even think about, was the fact that because Kisei is the thing, like, he comes, like, he delivers back what you give to him, you know, but if you do it as soon as the buzzer goes, like, he he doesn't have time to come back and do it. You know what I mean? Because that's the end of the match. So yeah, it's perfect. Though the fact that obviously, and Kuroko obviously says it's only going to work once, it would only also work once at that point in the match. Like, it could never work at any other point with Kisei, because that's what the whole thing revolves around, is him coming back and doing it to you. But you know, it would never work at any other point in the match, because you know, you need the whole point of that is that it was done at the very last second. You know, and Kuroko's accuracy, man, I don't think I talked about that, but his accuracy must be insane, because he doesn't pass as in like hold the ball pass. He like hits it, like he just basically uses the ball's momentum and pushes it on. But the fact is, like, he went for what we assumed was a shot, and Kisei assumed was a shot, but it was actually an alley-oop. So yeah, a thing where you pass the ball up to the hoop, so someone can jump up for it and slam the ball down. It's kind of like a quick attack in volleyball, like similar, you know, thing. Like, you know, specifically with Hinata anyway, they're being like basically up in the air as the ball sort of passed here. So yeah, and because Kagami has that sort of jumping power, he was able to, like, you know, stay in the air longer, get up above Kisei, and manage to get the ball in, which is interesting, because even though that whole thing, like, you know, the revolving around the whole buzzer beater thing, you know, getting the point there so that Kisei can't go and repeat it, I wonder if that is something that Kisei could copy, because technically, right, like, if that is a physical prowess thing that Kagami has, like, he has jumping power, right? So would Kisei really be able to copy that? Because surely you would have to have the physical capabilities of jumping that high too if you were going to do that. And I don't think a physical, like, observation of copying somebody, if that could really carry over there. And I don't think Kisei could be able to, like, would be able to jump that high. But I don't know. I was going to say, but we'll see, but we'll not. we'll not, because we'll not be able to see him if he was able to do it. But I don't know. That's interesting, because if he was able to do that, then I would feel like there is more of an ability thing and less of the realism thing that I was talking about. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think we were going to be able to beat. Because at the end of the day, that's the other thing as well. Like, the buzzer beater thing only worked because they were at level points as well. Like, you know, the last attack had to come from you, and so everything that culminated in that last shot, like, everything was like lined up for them to basically get the win. They had to be at equal points. It had to be the very last, you know, attack of the game. You had to have the ball in attack, you know, and also, like, it had to be something that caught them off guard. Like, they never expected Kuroko to actually have a shot. Turned out it wasn't a shot, but an alley-oop. So yeah, there was just, everything just kind of had to culminate at the right, like, in the right sort of way there. Because yeah, if they hadn't have been tied, then it wouldn't have mattered. You know, I don't know how much is a dunk just a point? Is that it? I'm gonna have to look that up. They probably showed it at the end of the episode. Basketball point system. Here we go. And just see what. Yeah. So 2 or 3. Yeah. So 2 points or 3 points. A free throw is 1 point. A free throw is like a penalty, right? Like, it's where, like, if you get fouled in, like, a certain, you know, I guess the sort of like the semicircle of where the hoop is, like, if you get fouled within there, it's a free throw, I think. And I think a free throw is like essentially a penalty, like, where, you know, like, you know, one person has a free shot from the there's like I think there's like a circle or something where the person stands, like, in the middle of it, takes a shot. I think that's what a free throw is, and that's just 1 point. A field goal is a 3-pointer, so that is from behind the 3-point line, which is the semicircle, I think. So if you hit it from outside there, I think that's a 3-pointer. But it's not saying what a dunk is, you know. I may just have to fucking point that in. It is considered a type of field goal. If successful, it is worth 2 points. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. So it was. Yeah. So it's 2. Yeah. So the only thing that is worth 1 point is a free throw, and everything like all of the sort of normal sort of shots, or like I guess like sort of like attacks that revolve inside the semicircle is 2 points, aside from the free throw, obviously, and then the 3-pointer is outside of that. So, yeah. Has there ever? It says here on Google. Has there ever been a 3-point dunk in basketball? Interesting. I guess if you were if somehow you were able to jump from behind the 3-point line and dunk it, that would technically be a 3-point dunk, wouldn't it? But there's no way anyone's done that. That would be stupid. That would be ridiculous. There's no way that could ever be possible. Surely, like, no, at least not in competitive. It says here, regulation basketball. Yeah, like that would be ridiculous. Like if anybody could jump that far and high, like without a fucking trampoline, which obviously you're not going to have a trampoline in a game of basketball, so that would be ridiculous. So yeah, but they said that it is like technically, if someone was able to achieve that it would be a 3-point, a 3-pointer, like a 3-point dunk. That'd be insane. You know what it is? It would not surprise me if that is in this anime somewhere. Like, you know, if Kagami, if he's able to jump that, like, if he's the jumper, right? If he's able to jump that far and get like a 3-point dunk, that'd be insane. So yeah, they started off their sort of coordination with Kagami actually passing the ball, as opposed to him being like the sort of straight up attacker that always has the ball and is like, whenever he gets it, he's going for an attack. He's going to shoot. He's not going to pass it to anybody. But having him pass, and specifically like to Kuroko, that's the thing that put Kisei off because he wasn't expecting it. And then by using that in tandem with all the other like teammates as well, really like put him off. And like for a second there, it was almost like a decoy move. That you know, like I said, I'm always going to bring up like Haikyuu as just a reference point, you know, because obviously it's sports and it's an anime, and you know, so obviously I'm going to tie the two together, even though like they have nothing to do with each other, aside from they're just sports anime. But you know, just getting these sort of, it's easier to explain when you have a reference from something else. So yeah, it was almost like a decoy kind of play. Like the focus was entirely on Kagami, and because of that, he was tricked into thinking that's where the ball was going to go, when in reality it went to Hyuga. So cool. And yeah, I love the fact that they have loads of different like ways to fight against Kisei when, you know, that sort of first half of the episode there. You know, by having Kuroko go up against him first, he gets by him. Kagami's there, and that split second in where Kisei has noticed, oh shit, now I need to get past Kagami, that was enough time for Kuroko to like, you know, smash the ball out of his hands. So it's really cool. It's really good. It's like, that's like proper like just like misdirection of observation. Like you're focusing on the wrong person, you know, like you've completely disregarded the guy that was just behind you. So yeah, really cool. What else? Yeah, we had another guy who, another one of the Generation of Miracles, the guy with green hair. So he's coming to watch the practice match, which I believe he has just missed. So he didn't even get there in time. And it's not surprising considering he was getting wheeled in a fucking cart by a guy riding a bike. Like, come on, dude. Jesus. Like, how fucking... Oh, God. Is this like the pompous one? Like the guy who thinks he's just better than everybody else, like, and just exudes that personality trait? I don't know. The interesting to see who the guy is on the bike as well, if it's a teammate or what. But yeah, so he's coming to see the practice match that you'll not get to see, but we'll probably see him interact though, so you know, that'll be interesting for next episode. Yeah, and then at the end, like, Kisei really fucking stepped it up. That like visual where I think it would have been Kasamatsu, shouted Kisei, basically threw the ball at him. It was like a Hail Mary kind of shot. And then Hyuga did one towards the end as well. But yeah, so Kasamatsu threw the ball, Kisei, and that visual there of where it's it was like a trail of I don't even know how how do you say it. It was like a nebula trail, that just left him because he left in such a quick manner that it just left all of the particles behind. It was just a really cool visual. Yeah, it's this is the thing is with a practice match as well. This is the same thing that I had with Haikyuu, where it's just you're having these practice matches and it gets to a point where it's tense, and it's just that's a practice match. As soon as you start getting into the proper competitive matches and shit, shit's gonna go down, man. I can't wait. I'm so intrigued to see what the other abilities for the other Generation of Miracles, what is their thing that they are good at. Can't wait. It's gonna be sick. And yeah, I don't think we've had any information on regards to a tournament coming up either, have we? We may have had them in episode 2 and episode 1, but because it was a while since I watched it, I can't remember if they talked about that. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I mean, other than that, we had the obviously the introductions of the sort of the other teammates of Seirin. So yeah, Hyuga, he's the captain. He's also known as a clutch shooter, so he's someone that can actually pick out, if there's one person on your team that's going to be able to pick out 3-pointers, it's going to be Hyuga. But also, I guess, just getting those 2 points as well, just he's able to pick out a shot from longer range. And then we've got Izuki, who's calm, cool, and collected. I think he correct me if I'm wrong, I think he brought out a fucking, he'd figured out some stupid mantra or something. He said something icy hot something. He was oh, that's good. Something like that. It just went by so quick that I was just and I was just trying to fucking take in what his name was and everything. So yeah, but I think he said something like that. We had Mitobe, who is the unsung hero, they call him, and he's a hard worker, and he doesn't talk. Apparently no one's heard his voice, so that's great. There's going to be a moment, isn't he, where he talks and people are going to be oh, it's going to happen. I've seen that happen in anime too many times for that not to happen again. So yeah, he's the unsung hero and the hardest worker. So yeah, cool. And then the last one was Kogane, who is the jack of all trades and jack of all trades and the master of none. So yeah, he's the one that's sort of an all-rounder that kind of, I guess, because to me a jack of all trades is almost someone that you can rely on in a way. Their kind of overall game is decent across the board, but he's not amazing at one thing. So even though he took it as a almost a diss, in a way it can be construed as a compliment depending on the perspective that you look at it from. But yeah, so that was it for episode 4. Episode 5 is going to be interesting, like I said, with the green-haired guy coming along, getting to interact with with our group, and also just to see what Kisei is going to think about everything. They beat Kaijo. Fucking hell! I want to see the coach's face. I want to see Kaijo's coach's face, especially after what he was talking about last episode about how the whole fucking half court thing and not taking it seriously. It's just well, in your fucking face, dude. But yeah, that's all I got. So thank you everyone for watching. If you do want to go actually watch episode 5 and 6 right now, you can do by becoming an early access tier patron and going over to my Patreon. Link will be in the description for the Patreon. There's also full length there if you do want to watch any of these in full and not just the 10-minute version. Then the full length is there for you. There's also other tiers where you can pay to have a show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. There's also the link to the Discord down there as well. If you do want to get over there, then feel free. But yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.